We finished tonight's action, just the two games, and so I was able to watch a majority of both games because they were staggered by half an hour. So I'm able to take more notes, and I used the old-fashioned board because I was trying to get a head start on tomorrow's preview, which is 13 games strong, and just as an update on whether or not I would go to tomorrow night's game, they're calling for... Basically, the warm air comes in over the cold air, which means when it rains, it freezes on its way to the ground. We get the freezing rain tonight, apparently. If we get a lot of freezing rain, I'm probably not going anywhere tomorrow. So I may very well be home to watch the games for you guys. We'll see what the forecast does and what the weather does. But I may end up not being at tomorrow night's game between Arizona and Vancouver. Because if it's going to be a really, really nasty drive and then it's flirting with the freezing mark. So if Highway 1's going to be a sheet of ice, or if there's going to be a bunch of roads that are a sheet of ice, there's always jokes made about people not being able to drive on the West Coast in the snow, but I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that you get so much ice. It doesn't just get cold and snow. You get that ice because it's always right around the freezing mark. And it's scary, and All right, we'll see what happens tomorrow, but for tonight, Chicago. The Blackhawks went in against the Montreal Canadiens, and they started Crawford because Crawford has a really good record against Montreal in Montreal, and it's kind of crazy. I think they said he's 5-0-2 in his last 7 in Montreal, something like that. So that's coming into tonight. So in that first period, Crawford ends up down in the first minute. He was okay, but it looked kind of awkward at the time that he went down in the first minute, so I thought it was worthy of note. Good start, I thought, for both teams. The Hawks get a power play. They weren't able to score on that. And then it's Montreal's turn for a power play. Now, Montreal hadn't scored on the power play coming into tonight in 6 games at home. It is a big part of their struggles. Their offense is having struggles. Even with that 2-game winning streak, they only scored 4 goals in that 2-game winning streak they had going and coming into tonight. So the Habs get that power play. During said power play, Zach Smith gets a shorthanded goal from Kajula at 5:42, and it was a gaff by Lindgren behind the net. Just one of those things where it's a lack of communication, and then it ends up in your own net. It happens. However, less than 3 minutes later, Zach Smith gets his second of the game from Cuckoo and Mata at 8:32. So 8.5 minutes into this game, it's 2-0 for Chicago, which left the crowd kind of quiet. And for the most part, the crowd was kind of quiet tonight. And that's 2 goals on 5 shots. So for Lindgren, he didn't have a chance on that second goal. The first goal, you can say he probably should have played it better behind the net. The Habs tried to answer it around the halfway mark. Kubalik then had some excellent chances tonight. He really did. He had a great chance, and Lindgren denied him. Mete then just missed a prime chance. Victor Mete, I swear, at some point in time, that offensive side is going to really blossom for this kid. He's one of those guys who's going to have like 10, 15 points a year, and then all of a sudden he'll put up 30 some year, and people go, wow, where did this come from? Because his accuracy will get better, and just I think it's a confidence thing too. There was a last-minute chance for Zach Smith, as he did have his opportunities for that hat trick. He just didn't quite get there tonight. Second period, early. Danault scores from Kovalchuk and Tatar at 54 seconds. Perfect play, beautiful play, and that means Kovalchuk now has 5 points in 5 games as a member of the Montreal Canadiens. 1 goal and 4 assists. And I think people are starting to realize, who maybe didn't follow him in L.A., the shot is not what it was, but his passing is still up there. He was able to make some passes in L.A., and in his first 5 games with L.A. this year, I think he had 7 points. I think that's what it was. I think it was 7 points in his first 5 games. So he does tend to start well. Kajula then just missed the net high shortly thereafter. The Habs get a power play. And what happens with that power play? The Hawks tried to get another shorthanded goal. It very nearly did. Lindgren held. Domi then went to the box for mugging Highmore. The funny thing is, as he's going to the box, he's like, for what? And TSN announcers say, it could have been any of 3 things there, Max. Lots of things you did there. I think it was a cross-check, a hold, and then he rips the guy's helmet off. The funny thing was, it looked like he was trying to give Highmore his helmet back, so when they panned over to it, it was more like Domi's trying to give his helmet back, and the referee's like, you're going to the box. I thought that was kind of funny. You're not allowed to touch Sir, but I mean, he ripped the helmet off in the first place, right? So I guess he was trying to get him to go off the ice. Either way, he goes to the penalty box. During that power play, DeBrincat scores from Kane and Taves at 11:27. DeBrincat has 12 goals this year. 8 of them are on the power play. And for Patrick Kane, that's point number 998. He is 2 points away from 1,000. That means another Patrick Kane video when he gets there. So be surprised when you see it. And then what was weird with that one was that Lindgren loses his blocker and he lost his stick. And there was a play as well there where he loses his stick, and they're saying, if it's a broken stick, if you're a goalie, you can play it. He knows that, right? You're allowed to use a broken stick if you're a goaltender. It was weird. Lindgren had a lot of weird things going on tonight. And after that goal, they were checking. It looked like his hamstring was tight, or I don't know. It was just bizarre. The Habs get a power play, and they don't score on that. Going into the third period, it's 3-1 for Chicago, and Lindgren knows he's out there for the night because Price is playing tomorrow night in Philly, so doesn't matter what happens tonight, Lindgren's in there. There was an early pressure by the Habs that didn't end up breaking through because Corey Crawford had what may have been one of his best games of the year tonight, to be honest. The Hawks got a power play. They scored on it, but they didn't because Jonathan Toews totally kicked that in. Now, here's the thing, and just a message to Toews. If you're going to kick the puck in, act like you didn't. Because the puck went in, and he didn't throw his arms up or anything. He kind of had his head down, and it's like he knows he directed that in with his foot. He knows they're going to call it back. Act like, yeah, I totally hit that with my stick. Anyways, it was funny watching that on the replay, and they're looking. I'm thinking, well, clearly he kicked it in, because look at his reaction, which was just sort of, that's coming back. Doesn't matter. Kajula scores at 11:40 on a turnover. He stole it from Jordan Wheel, and then he went in and scored. It was a beautiful goal. That made it 4-1 after all. Kubalik then almost got one. Like I said, he had a very good game, just couldn't get a goal. And Crawford continues his fantastic record in Montreal. He loves playing against the Montreal Canadiens. Montreal less anxious about playing against Corey Crawford in Montreal. Your 3 stars of the game in this 4-1 victory for Chicago are Smith, Toews, and Crawford. Crawford saves 32 out of 33 in the victory. Lindgren 24 out of 28 in the loss. Hits were 36-10 for Montreal. Just ridiculous. The hits are 36-10. Shots 12-11 Montreal in the first, 11-10 Chicago in the second, 11-6 for Montreal in the third. Final shots 33-28 in favor of the Habs. The Habs went 0 for 3 on the power play. Chicago goes 1 for 3 on theirs. So special teams are the story tonight with the power play and shorthanded goal both being scored by Chicago. It is a big part of the reason why Montreal is hopefully not starting another winless streak, but this is a discouraging start. So, the other game of the night, keep in mind I wore a Philadelphia jersey this morning. So I had nothing to do with this. Nothing. Because apparently people think what jersey I wear. Now this is the funny part. It's 2 days in a row I've been right that I've worn a jersey of a team that's won. So let all the conspiracy theories just abound about that, right? Well, he didn't mean to wear that, so technically that doesn't count as wearing it. Right. Okay, first period, the Blues got close at 2.5 minutes. Elliott saved. I thought Elliott had a good start to this game. The shots were 5-2 in favor of the Blues at the 6-minute mark. And it was a good road game for the Flyers in the first, which is noteworthy after all those road games where they'd allow 3 or 4 in the first period, which was blech, right? Flyers fans know it was blech. Anyways, the Blues get a power play, and on said power play, they score that goal. It's Falk from Steen and Thomas at 14-24. Alex Steen, starting to look like Alex Steen again, the one that scores points and goals and all that. He's looked pretty good over the last couple of weeks. The Blues get another power play. They don't score on that one. And from there on, the Flyers' penalty kill was pretty solid. Second period, Couturier hits a post. They then had a 2-on-1 shortly thereafter, which was broken up by the Blues. Binnington not facing a lot of shots. And when he did face shots, he looked pretty darn good. Now, the Flyers get a power play. Niskanen hits a post. After the power play ended, the momentum continues for Philadelphia. They kept the pressure up. Pitlick would score from Lawton at 12:43. Right after the goal, a couple of minors were handed out, so it was 4-on-4 play. The Flyers were pressuring for the lead, and after that 4-on-4 play ended, Raffl would score from Haig and Couturier at 15:43. And I thought they were kind of picking on Binnington with this one, where Haig takes the shot from the point, Binnington kicks it out right to where Raffl is, and he's like, well, he should control that better. And I thought, no. The goaltender should be able to make the save, yes. But when that rebound gets kicked out, that's on the defense to clear guys out. So the fact that Raffl was open to shoot that rebound into the net, That, to me, says more about the defense than about the goaltenders. You guys can let me know in the comment section below whether you think that goal says more about the defense or about Bennington's rebound control. I go with the defense. There was a scrum that ended the second period and just a cross-check by Perron that I thought was just vicious. Now, I understand Konechny went at him first, but that cross-check was brutal. And you could see Konechny, who got up kind of woozy after that, and he heard it was a 2-minute, and he's like, what? So I think the Flyers may have thought that should have been more than a minor. I'm not saying anything more about it other than you might have been able to say it was a little bit more than just a minor. But anyways, they start the third period with a power play, and they score on it. And who scores it? The guy who got cross-checked in the neck, Konechny. He gets the goal from James Van Riemsdyk and Claude Giroux at 26 seconds. So that's how you get back at a guy for the cross-check. Even though, as I said, they were going at each other around the buzzer anyways. Just Perron made sure he got the last good shot in there. The Blues get a power play, and then it turned into a 5-on-3 for 1 minute and 41 seconds. And the Flyers, great penalty kill. Absolutely fantastic penalty kill. They kept them to the outside. There weren't really very many good opportunities given to the Blues during that 5-on-3, which I thought said more about the penalty kill for the Flyers, because the Blues coming into tonight have been 6 for 12 in their most recent power plays. There were 2 shots in 15 minutes approximately for the Blues, which follows that 5-on-3, showing you just how well the Flyers defended it. The Blues get another power play. They got a post during that power play. And solid penalty kill overall for the Flyers during that one as well, even though there was a post. O'Reilly would score from Shannon Perron at 10:35. And once that goal went in, the crowd gets back into it. Guess what happens? They pressured for the tie, and they got it. It's Steen from Thomas and Schwartz at 13:39. So that makes it 3-3, and at this point I'm almost out of boardroom. So what happens then is the Flyers get a too many men call with 4:24 left. And again, great penalty kill by the Flyers. Really, really solid third period for them, considering how much time they spent shorthanded. The fact that the shots weren't a completely lopsided mess in favor of the Blues shows how well they were defending. So we go to overtime. In the overtime, Lawton hits the post, which was noteworthy, I thought. Both teams had chances, weren't generating shots. When a shot finally got through, it's Voracek from Provorov and Couturier at 3:33. It's the only shot of the overtime, and it's the one that matters. The Flyers go in against St. Louis, and they win 4-3. So what they've done, the Flyers, they've gone through the Capitals, the Bruins, the Tampa Bay Lightning, and now St. Louis. And I know I got the order mixed up there. But the point is they've played 4 games against top 6 teams in the NHL, and they lost one of them. And that was a 1-0 loss to the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Flyers are suddenly playing really well. I don't know if it's that the road trip through California woke them up or what it is, but this team is playing better. And I think this was, out of those 4 games, I think this was their best game. Remember, they were down 5-2 against Boston. So there was some good fortune there and just lousy defending by Boston that led to that being tied and going to a shootout. And this, to me, was their best game. Absolutely. 3 stars, Voracek, Steen, and Raffl. And shots, Elliott saved 30 out of 33. Bennington saved 21 out of 25. I know that number is going to be ugly for Bennington. You know what? I still think Bennington had a fine game. I don't think that reflects how he played. Hits were 26-17 in favor of the Flyers. So they were the winning team, and they got more hits. Shots, 14-8, St. Louis in the first, 9-8 in favor of the Flyers in the second. 11-7 were the shots in the third for St. Louis. Keep in mind how much time they had on the power play. Only being up 11-7 in the shots, that's a victory for the Flyers. As I said, the Flyers got the only shot of the overtime. Final shots, 33-25 in favor of the home team. But this is the first loss in 10 for the St. Louis Blues. They do get a point. So right now, they are the number 1 team in the NHL. And the Flyers, with this victory, they distance themselves by 2 points from Columbus. And they are tied with Carolina right now in terms of points for that number 1 wild card spot. Chicago, with their victory, they're now only 4 points back of a playoff spot in the West. They leapfrog Nashville. They're not out of this. So we'll see what Chicago does from here. But right now they're in it. And Montreal, well, they out-hit them 36-10. They just can't score. And again, most of their scorers are out. Gallagher, they don't know what's going on with him. I would have done a news of the day thing about Gallagher. I saw the report on Gallagher. It's just they don't know. So the report would have been, I don't know what's going on with Gallagher. On to other news. So there you go. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.